So we want to talk about something that's quite a not controversial topic, but contemporary subject, and that is the subject of carers. Now, when we are talking about carers, we are talking about mothers, fathers, grandparents. We are talking about people that look after a sibling, relative, friend who is ill, disabled. Maybe even they have to put them in a home, but they are still the main carer of that individual. And when you think about it like that, even people who are caring for animals or who are caring for plants, right, that they have to provide food for a whole community, that type of thing. Anybody who is a carer, when you think about it like that, almost every individual on the planet is a carer. So this is for everybody who can see themselves in that role of a carer in whatever guise it is. This is for you. And what we want to say to all of these people that find themselves in this role and can consider themselves in some level a carer is that you have to look after yourself. You have to look after yourself. Now, that might say, oh, that's such a simple thing. It's actually, so what, we have to look after ourselves. This is the big news. But the reason that we say that is for the most obvious and the most basic reason is that if something happens to you, what's going to happen to whatever or whomever you are looking after, you are caring for, what is going to happen to them? That's the most practical and urgent consideration. Apart from that, there is this other level, sort of like an underneath level, where if you as the carer, who is the being that is the when we say superior, we don't mean that in a sort of negative way. What we mean is that you are the one that they look to for their help, for their care, for their food, whatever. You're the one that they look to. So you're sort of up here. They're looking up to you for whatever it is that you're giving. If you are giving them an image of a being that is just putting themselves aside, is not looking after themselves health-wise, mentally, emotionally, whatever, in whatever way, spiritually. If you are not looking after yourself in any way, and everything that you do is for everybody else, or that you are just putting yourself aside so that somebody else can have something, maybe even you get irritated by that and then you take it out on this person, right? That you have confusion. But if you are showing them that as a carer, as somebody who is in a position of, let's use the word authority in this instance, we'll just use that word, and you're not looking after yourself, you're not being the strong individual, or you're not going to end up being the strong individual, what is that message that you're sending to them? Right? Now, the one thing that, let's look at children. A very important part of being a child is feeling safe. Being safe to explore, safe to live, safe to laugh, safe to learn, safe to think, safe to see. All of these aspects of a childhood revolves around being safe to do that. If the energy that you're passing down through being in this authority figure is, first of all, one, that you're not looking after yourself, that there is, for whatever, in whichever way, as we said, there are this physical, emotional, mental, whatever. If you're not looking after yourself in that way, then that builds a sort of a fear, right? Because if something happens to you, what will happen to them? So there is an element of fear that is developed, right, around that. It may not be explicit, right? The children may not say to you, oh, I'm fearful that I won't be able to survive if something happens to you, because they don't think like that. But they are reliant on you as the carer. So as the carer, they are looking to you for their way of life. If they get an inkling that you're not looking after yourself, let's say that for whatever reason, in whichever way, they will know that there will be an energy that will circulate between you, and they know something's not right, which will affect their safety. Now, this might seem like it's completely self-indulgent or self-egotistical or self, but that child, for example, is, as we say, completely reliant on the energy of the parent for a very long period of time. And if that energy that's coming back to the child is not strong, is not healthy, is not confident, etc., then the child will start to feed on that particular energy, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, as we said, is confusion. It confuses the relationship, because let's say the carer of the child is the strong one, right? They're the ones that have the knowledge and have the abilities, and then the child is looking to them for which way to go, how to live, etc. If they sense this energy of fear, of not being safe, then that will start to confuse them. And then what happens then, as they are growing up, they will not understand how to live as a whole, complete human being, because they have seen and felt this energy that says, I am the authority because I am the parent carer, let's just say, and you are the child, and we are helping you to develop your life, etc. And so that's the sort of the way that it works with the carer and the child. But they're getting this confused energy that actually I'm not looking after myself, the carer. I'm not taking myself aside and saying, right, I actually need to look at myself. I need to maybe on the physical level exercise, diet, or get more sleep, and on the mental level I need to, meditate, or I need to do this or that. On the emotional level, I need to be able to express my emotions without, losing those emotions onto other people, whatever it is. So that's the picture that they are getting, and that's how they then start to live in this energy of confusion and fear, and that's how they grow. It's the same thing in any kind of relationship. Let's look at a relationship between a human and an animal, like a dog. Dogs, any animal that you have as a pet, in inverted commas, or as a friend, however you look at them, feed off your energy. Why? Because you're the one that feeds them. You're the one that looks after them. You're the one that communes with them. That they're there with you. They look up to you. You can imagine you've got your dog and they look up to you with those big brown eyes, and they look at you and they're questioning you with those eyes. Is everything okay? Am I all right? Pat me. And then when you pat them, they calm down, and they know that everything is okay again. So if they are feeling that, and lots of dogs as well can sense when there is illness in a human being, right? So they have a very strong energetic connection to their carer. So it's the same thing. If the carer is not looking after themselves, if the carer is not taking respect and honoring who they are and where they exist and their needs and requirements and their wants, then that is going to filter to the dog or to whatever animal it is. They're going to feel that. Same thing. They're going to start to feel unsafe, insecure. They're going to start getting sick because they have a much more sensitive energetic connection, because on the let's say on the astral plane, which is where they live, they have a much more they have a strong sensitive connection to nature, let's say nature, whereas human beings have really separated themselves considerably from that. So they can feel sensitive to their parent, but not necessarily to other things. You understand what we mean. So the dog can become quite ill. And then what happens? The carer has to look after the animal. The animal might get well, but the human has, again, let themselves be, their energy is being taken to fix this animal. The animal doesn't really want that. The animal wants the human being to bolster themselves, to get better, to be well, and then the animal will follow in that energy. We don't want to put vets out of practice, so don't think that's what we're trying to do here. But what we are trying to do is to get people to see that human beings, any natural element of this planet, is an energy. And energies are very, very powerful and are also very dynamic and active, so they can change and make movement. They can vibrate things, right? Energy can vibrate things. And all humans and any natural element of this planet, is an energetic being, has of energy. And that energy is is the gauge, right? It's the gauge of the planet. So if you can imagine that the majority of people on this planet are carers in some description, and out of that majority, a very large proportion do not take care of themselves, do not look at themselves sometimes first and say, right, I have to do this, because if I don't do this, my carees are going to be affected, right? So I have to do this. Maybe it's in the long term that they'll be affected, but they will be affected. So you've got the majority of the human population are carers of some description. A large group of that majority do not take care of themselves properly, do not take care of themselves and respect themselves, so that, in the long term, the carees are also going to be looked after. So what does that tell you? We've already said that humans and the natural world is energy, all made up of energy, a vibrating energy. If that's the case, right, that the majority of people are carers and that a large proportion of them are not looking after themselves, what is that message, that energetic vibration that is filtering down, if you like, into all of the carees? Because when you think about it, as we've said, the carees could be plants, animals, humans, water, whatever you're caring for, that's where that energy is going to filter down to. Do we really want, as a group, as an international, like a global group, to be sending that kind of energy into our responsibilities, right? We don't take care of ourselves, we put others first. That's what you're sending down. That's not saying to them, put yourself first, because that's what we're doing. It's saying, we don't take care of ourselves, we put others first. And it just keeps going down. And as it goes down, if you imagine that, let's say there are 10 carers in the world, and each one of them has 10 people that they care for example. So that's 10 carers, and then that's 100. And out of that 100, each one of that 100 has the same amount of responsibilities, 10. It just gets bigger and bigger. So it's not that this energy is getting smaller and smaller. It's actually getting broader and broader. So when you look at the planet now, and lots of people see the planet struggling to maintain the human species, struggling to maintain. Of course, there is the question of, is it really struggling to maintain? But we'll look at that another time. Struggling to maintain. Why? Because there is this energy coming down all the way. I don't look after myself, but I have to look after you. I put you first so you are okay. The next level, okay, that's the way it works. I don't look after myself because I know that above is going to look after me, so I don't look after myself, and that means that I can look after you. But if above gets unwell and they can't look after there, and it just goes down and down and down, so it just filters down into the planet. Is that really the way people want to live in the long term? And this is part of the problem with human beings. When you look at governments, they can only be the democratically elected governments have a very small period of time that they can do some work. But sometimes you need a long time for something to actually come to fruition, right? Let's say you start a new education system, and it's going to start with children that are 5 and 6. Obviously, you're not going to see the benefits of that until they are in their 30s, right? But if a government has only such a short period of time, then it might just last for that short period of time, and then something else comes, right? So you never really know whether the fruition what is going to happen. We're not saying that governments should be in for 20 or 30 years. That's not what we're saying. What we are saying is that if the people of the planet change their way of thinking, right? And we're talking to the carers. If they change their way of thinking, that they have to put themselves aside and look after the next group below, etc., etc. Instead say, right, for me to be of service to the group below me, right? Or the group that I am caring for me to be of service, I have to be at my peak. I have to be healthy in every single possible way. I have to have a strong mind, a strong heart, a full life. That's what I have to have, because then that makes sure that the next group will have that as well, right? So it's not the governments that need to have longer sessions. It's the people that need to take action upon themselves. So that's the challenge that we give to the people of this planet. Because as we've said, we believe that the majority of people on this planet are carers of some description. Look to yourself. Make sure you are at your peak, that you are working at an optimum level. Now, people say, oh, but I hit my peak when I'm 25. And then it was all downhill from there. What we're saying is your peak is specific to the period of your life. So let's say that you are 65 and you have full of arthritis. Obviously, you can't go and work in the field. Obviously, you can't do, lots of physical work, but you can use your mind. And that's where your peak might be right now. There. So don't think that you have this peak where you have to be this physical god or goddess, right? In every possible way. You have an optimum level of working, an optimum level of being at every single stage of your life. And that's what we say. Know yourself enough to know what your optimum working level is for this period of your life, and make sure you get there. Make sure you utilize it and exercise it, because that's going to filter down to all of the carees. So that's the challenge we have for you. Know yourself enough. Make sure you get to your optimum. You're not putting yourself first, but you're taking yourself and you're saying, if I am not well, if I am not at my optimum, that means that as the people, like the levels of carees below, they will not be getting the best of me. I cannot be of service to these people, or these plants, or these animals. So, that's what we wanted to say today. Many blessings to you, and we really truly hope that you can all find the optimum for this period of your life and for every other period of your life. You can grasp it, you can take it, and you can take it to the world and act on it. Many blessings. Thank you very much.